We are starting on time, almost within seconds of on time.
We're
Anyway,
always on time, aren't we?
we were exactly on time, pretty much. Yeah, maybe not as the clock switched to 8:30, maybe a few seconds after. But we can carry on gabbling like this as though we hadn't got other things to do. Now, for those of you who are seeing us on the internet and don't know who we are, it's been a long time. It's been 2 weeks since we were last on, and we've been a bit sporadic.
I think, isn't it? Three
Sorry?
at least. Three, isn't it?
3 at least. There we go. 3 weeks
Maybe
at least since we
5.
were last on. Sorry?
Maybe
Five?
5?
7 weeks. It's been 7
10.
weeks.
It's been 30
It's
years.
been a year
never,
since we were
we've never
last.
been on, ever.
Yeah, who are you all?
This is our first time. Welcome to the very first episode of our new Coriolis campaign. It would be good if it was, actually. You'd probably get bigger numbers that way when people see episode. This is why I stopped doing like episode 56. Which,
Yeah. No
where
point
we're
joining on episode 56. Yeah.
anyway, episode 4 is a perfect jumping on point for anybody who might be listening now, because in episode 3, you finally got a thing to do. Shall we just briefly introduce ourselves? I'm Matthew and I'm the GM. Down here is my co-host.
Hello, yeah, I'm Dave. I am playing Oshian Ispartha, a one-time private detective on Coriolis, who's kind of got wrapped up and in lots of events and has kind of refound his Alarms Temple roots.
Excellent. And over there, look at that. I almost pointed the right way. There we go. Mike's in the way. But over there is Zaki, is Mohammed.
Yeah, I'm Mohammed. I'm playing Zaki Barakat, the new crew member of Oshian and Yaqub crew. Yeah.
Excellent. And what did you do? What's the last thing you did on this ship?
Last thing I remember was being thrown out of the ship, but this is from.
That's a reoccurring nightmare for you. But I think the last thing you did was actually blow it up, wasn't it?
No, I prevented it from blowing up.
You did prevent it from mostly blowing up.
I guess.
No, we did a good job together, and Zaki was critical to my ship not blowing up.
Right.
Which is great, because as a player, I would have pouted for fucking months if he'd done that. All this time with his ship, and then the first time he gets shot out of the sky with one shot, which seems really likely, and then the second one he then gets destroyed. So you're lucky in that.
Don't blame me. Blame Ricard Ancroyer. He actually wrote it down. I was just following what it said in the book. It's a bit like when a player character says, "It's just what my character would do." I'm just following what it says in the book.
It's not me.
And so
that was what my character would have done in that circumstance.
and that was what your character. Yes, that's an entirely different campaign, Tony.
Totally different
Tony, introduce
character.
yourself and tell us who you are.
Yeah, I'm Tony. My character is Yaqub and long-time partner of Oshian Ispartha, previously as a private detective on Coriolis. Which things have moved on. Events that have transpired have made me even more cynical.
Yeah, whatever you are, you're not a private detective on Coriolis anymore, are you?
No, we're certainly not that. I'm just along to support my friend and partner in what he wants to do.
Right. Okay. Now, actually, although I said you're not a private detective on Coriolis anymore, could anybody tell me where we are?
On Djachroum. We're on Djachroum, but that's about as much as I can remember of the last episode.
Jolly good. What else can anybody else remember the last episode?
We went to meet the Akbar of Djachroum with Judge Kurahan and Isabelita, Oshian's sister. The judge offered to help the Akbar running the council. And I think the Akbar was happy to accept that help. There was a Free League group there who weren't happy about Zenithian being in charge. But the Akbar calmed things down. Oshian then nearly got into a fight with one of the Free League people, funnily enough. Why this always seems to happen to your characters, Dave.
I just gave him a look, that was all. If you didn't like it, that's not my fault.
I'm pretty sure a hand was placed on your shoulder. I can't remember whether it was Yaqub's hand or your sister Isabelita's. But I seem
Probably
to remember
both.
somebody stopped you. It may well have been both of them, actually.
And then there was somebody called Wasima who was
The Archherret for the Church.
the Archherret of the Church of the Icons, who word had it was on Djachroum, although nobody knew where they were. And the Akbar was basically gave us a job to try and track this person down. So no one knows where she is, but she's believed to be on Djachroum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I'm thinking with basically starting from there with kind of, so what are you going to do? But I
So we
think
were given, when we left the Akbar, we were given a bag which included some baklava, which was nice, but also a data chip. So I don't know what was on that data chip. We should go and have a look at that and see if that gives us anything relevant information.
Makes sense, yeah. Whilst we're eating the baklava.
okay. I totally forgot about the
So, the viewers, you're getting insight into Matthew's level of low prep for a game as a GM.
It was 3 weeks. I've done loads of prep, but I haven't mentioned the data chip.
So I think the data chip's very, very important.
I think
Oshian and Zaki, I think we should very thoroughly analyse it.
Yes, I agree.
Right.
We should
Okay.
investigate every name we find on it, and
Jolly good, Zaki. It looks to be heavily encrypted. Would you like to
Why
roll
didn't-
your
Yeah, I'll help with that, Zaki.
Thank you.
out of interest, do you guys still have any talismans left?
Yeah, I've got
On my
loads, I
character
think.
sheet, I've got 6, I think, by the look of it.
I've got 7. I haven't used any. I had 7 and I've still got them.
This is the sterling work of Paul's character.
Yes,
Cade.
it was.
Cade before he died horribly on Coriolis, on Kira.
Kira.
Yeah, I probably need to push because
It's
I got
okay. Don't
0.
push if you don't want to.
No, you definitely have to
Definitely push.
No,
Everyone. Lots of successes
Because,
for this one.
Okay.
because we need to. Even if you get no successes, cheat and say you got 4 because you want to put Masha into the corner.
What a delightful morning. Only one success.
Only one success. Well, you think you can break the code, but you've got to put it on a subroutine on your thing, which you think is going to take a couple of hours.
Okay, we can wait.
Yeah.
We can order some food.
Yeah.
Play what equivalent of a TV show?
Okay.
Well, there's no point rushing off and doing something if we just find out on the chip that there's something different we ought to be doing or following up. So
Well, can I just say, GM to player, that whenever I think of what I intended to put on the chip, I will, of course, adapt it to whatever the current situation in the storyline is.
is that so? Please, players, get on with the story.
Please don't make me sit here going, what did I intend to put on that chip for an hour and a half?
Okay.
Yeah. I will change the dice
What did I intend
because
to put on that
Coriolis
chip?
dice are not working fine today, and I will substitute with the brilliant effective dice. Effect dice.
My effect dice are very, very fickle. They can be really good, and most of the time they're shit.
That's because when you're a good boy, Dave, in my opinion, they work for you. And when you do something to piss me off, they know who the boss is in this podcast.
You have a special connection.
So
with
I
all
think
of
you'll
them.
find they won't be working now because you're embarrassing me over the absence.
I'm using alien dice anyway, so it's fine.
Okay.
Right then,
Right.
guys.
So while you're waiting for the encryption to reveal itself in a dramatically appropriate length of time, or indeed when I've worked out or remembered what it was I was going to tell you via the data chip. I mean, I'm serious. I'm looking through my notes here, and at no point do I say what I intended to put on that data chip, and it is 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Now, sorry. So what are you going to do while you're doing that?
So I guess, is there any value in talking to the people who we know are here from the Church of the Icons? Do we know, is Wasima like in the bad books of them at the moment for some reason?
So there
Or is
was
she-
a group from the Church of the Icons with us when we were talking to the Akbar.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
was Zaki, wasn't there? What can we
Yeah.
remember about that group, Zaki?
Yeah, probably not the very first person to talk to them, because one of them is Antar Bayoumi,
Oh yes,
the brother of the guy that I got
In
captured
prison.
Yeah.
in prison.
Yeah, he did actually. We did have a chat with him, didn't we? He didn't seem to
and
be
I,
too.
I
Did
guess I convinced
did-
him in some
Yeah.
way that I'm not Zaki. I'm just look alike, and I got that a lot, but I'm not him.
Yes, he was sure he recognized your crewmate. I can't remember your crewmate's name, but it's definitely not Zaki Barakat.
No, we definitely came up with a new name for that.
There was, yeah, and I
Yeah.
know I've got
Yeah.
it here somewhere. Let me just find it on my
It
notes.
was,
Mitwalli Yasser.
It was
Mitwalli
Baki
Yasser.
Zarakat. That's what it was.
It was not anything as daft as that. It was Metwali Yasser.
Yeah.
Metwali Yasser. Okay.
Although, Mohammed, do you want to say it? Have I got my pronunciation okay?
Mitwalli Yasser.
Metwali, yes. Okay.
Yasser. Yeah.
I'm not going to
Yeah,
roll
we
my
can't,
eyes
do,
like
we
that.
can't do that. We can't do that. Stop it. You know we can't do it.
But you should
Yeah.
make Matthew try though.
We've had this conversation
Well.
before. So
Right, but there were, in fact, 2 delegations from the Church of the Icons. The Mirren delegation included your Okradama acquaintance, shall we say,
Nemesis.
Zaki, but there was another delegation. Can you remember who that was?
I can't.
No. Oh, God, I don't think.
But anyway, so is Wasima like in good standing with the Church of the Icons at the moment?
As
No.
far as you're aware, yes.
Right.
I mean, so let
So
us
we
let's
could
give
go
you
and
all
ask
a
the
little
church-
bit of
We could
history,
go and
given
ask
it
the Church
is
of the Icons
weeks and
about
weeks
it.
since you've
Yeah.
spoken to them. Hold on, I'm just trying to find my screen again because I've gone to my notes. Yeah. So Wasima was a member of the Coriolis Council and has been for
Yeah.
as long as you guys have been on Coriolis. She's very respected. In events just before, I don't know. I don't know what we're calling the thing. In my head, I'm calling it the incident.
The event.
Shortly before that, there had been a reorganization of the council where it appeared that Wasima had voluntarily stepped down from being a representative an active representative of the council with decision-making powers to fill the place vacated by the emissary who
Who obviously was dead. Yeah.
was dead, which is a non-voting part of the council. So it looked like the church had withdrawn from politics and effectively given free rein to the conglomerate of Zenithians, be they consortium Zenithians or hegemony Zenithians, to pretty much dominate the council and make all the decisions. So that's the thing that happened, and you can imagine that may be controversial. So she may not be in the good books of everybody within the Church of the Icons, but she hasn't, burned any babies or
The
killed
Lotus
anybody,
Sister
as far as
is
you're aware.
the Lotus Sisters, I guess, is there within
The Lotus Sisters. Well done,
the
Zaki,
crew
for
also?
taking notes. So the other delegation from the Church of the Icon were a delegation of Sisters of the Lotus Temple in Dabaran, who Zaki has met in a previous mission that we should potentially put a link to in the show notes, I guess, Zaki, for people following along at home. Like the little boxes they put in the corners of Marvel comics where they say, "In Mighty World of Marvel, episode 37 or issue 37 or whatever." So you have 2 Church of the Icons delegations to approach. One of them has got a man who Zaki is pretty sure wants to kill him.
Yeah.
The other one hasn't. But I'm leaving it entirely up to you as to who you could do that. It will. You've been sent away out of the palace, but obviously, you know, there's this long procession of rooms. You know that eventually they're going to come out the same way you guys come out. You can just hang around and wait for them. A lot of the people waiting in that first guard chamber you were in are kind of not necessarily waiting to get in and see the Akbar, but merely waiting to get people on the way out or whatever.
Did the Lotus Sisters go in to see the Akbar earlier than the Antar Bayoumi's group? Who's coming up first, I guess, is what I want to try and work out.
I don't know. Well, I think now you've left their company. I don't think either of them had been in before you got to see the Akbar.
So we don't know which one went in first, or they might have gone in together.
Yeah.
Just thinking it might be wise not to flaunt Zaki in this guy's face when he comes out.
I mean,
No.
I'm going to make you make an observation roll for this. But given it's your thing, I think, Oshian, you can make this observation roll.
Can I assist?
And I guess if you're asking these questions openly about who went in, then the others can throw a dice in if they've got the observation skill.
Yeah, okay, I'll take both of those. Thank you. And we get 2 successes on that.
2 successes. So you will remember that relationships between the 2 groups of church representatives didn't look amazingly cordial.
Yeah. What do we know about the Lotus Sisters? What's their job or role in the Church of the Icons?
Zaki, can you remember what we know about the Lotus Sisters?
Last time they cured Ghazi from the being enchanted by this cult that we faced in Lotus City. They treat him. We went there and she treated him.
So you're on reasonably good terms with them, you feel?
So are any of the ones here the ones that you met before on Damaran?
Yeah.
Zaki, could you make a culture roll?
Culture.
Can we help? Can we help with that?
No, I think this is Zaki on his own, frankly.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Oh, well, no.
Only...
Actually, yeah. You can, if you got culture, give him a dice.
Yeah, I have some culture.
You can have a dice for me too, yeah.
So two extra dice in this conversation.
Nope. Yeah.
Nothing at all.
Even effect dice is not working.
Do you want to push that?
I told you they were shit, Mohammed, didn't I? They look great, but they don't roll well. It might be worth
Should
a
we
try.
push it?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Abracadabra.
Thank you for the darkness point.
Let's give them darkness points totally unnecessarily.
1 success.
1 success. Okay. You don't think you recognized anybody from the Lotus Sisters, but I'm going to give you a little bit of history that I probably gave you in that previous adventure, but you know, it's
we also
shame.
have our talent of a friend in every port if we wanted to use that. It's our group talent, after all.
Yes.
If we wanted to have a friend.
If you wanted to use that.
Sisters.
Lotus is said to be the first city founded by the colonists who arrived in Dabaran. Perched high above the sands in the Tara Mountains, the walled, sprawling city of Lotus quickly became a beacon of holy light for the cities in the lowlands, rallying the faithful in worship of the icons and the spirits of the desert. Desire to rule the mythic city led to fierce fighting between the Emirates and the Sultanates, collectively known as Dars, that surrounded Lotus and the Wound. This is all kind of pre-history, before the coming of the Zenith. Or in fact, before the Portal Wars. A mere 15 years before the beginning of the Portal Wars, the Circle of Seekers, having tirelessly cared for the city's pilgrims throughout a tumultuous series of coups and usurpers, were entrusted with governing Lotus. Now, a growing contingent of female seeker prophets and philosophers within the faction known as the Lotus Sisters made sure the city saw a new golden age, even amidst the raining fire of the wars and the earthquake just before the ceasefire, when the wound swallowed large sections of the city. The schism that eventually forced the split in the faction to a head, forgive the Swedish translation into English, concerned which icon doctrine Lotus should adhere to: an older Second Horizon faith or the younger Third Horizon version, with its innumerable folkloric permutations. The Lotus Sisters separated themselves from the circle and rallied under their banner the most prominent preachers and prophets visiting from around the horizon to form what was called the Lotus Council. The Council is the planet's foremost moral and religious authority, visited for guidance by warring Dars since its formation almost 1.5 centuries ago. That's the history, as though you remembered it from a history book, Zaki.
So is Wasima a member of the Lotus Sisters? Because I think, from my notes, they were the ones that asked the Akbar about her, whether there'd been any.
You may well remember that, yes. And
So is she a Lotus Sister?
From the way they asked, they were concerned for her as a representative of the Church of the Icons on Coriolis. Not, you think, they didn't use language. They may well have said our sister, but only in the way that, any Christian might say my brother Christian or whatever. Yeah. They didn't particularly seem to have any particular affiliation to her. But they did express concern, as you've said.
I suspect talking to them is probably a good idea then, isn't it?
Yes, although the fact that they asked about her suggests they don't necessarily have any information about where she might be.
They're not necessarily going to have any clues.
They might have some clues, though.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way of... is there
Do we
like
know
a...
how she looks like?
Sorry, Zaki?
Sorry, I interrupted Dave. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, is there any kind of like inbound customs database that we could check to see if she's like appeared on any manifests?
Well,
and I think also my second question would be the one that Zaki was asking, which is, do we know what she looks like? Yeah.
You know what? I'm suddenly remembering what was on that data disk, I think. And what I was going to do was pull out a bunch of facts about Wasima including her picture from the first book, which I don't have with me. So it looks like, I think as your data disk pings, you do know what she looks like and a bunch of other information about her, but it is stuff I will either make up on the spot when it's required, or I'll only give it to you at the beginning of the next session when I've now remembered that that's what it was about. But you do have an image of her because I think she is pictured in the first book of the icons.
Okay, so we've got a picture. Is there a database we could try and look into to see if there's a...
Okay, in relation to your first question, I will remind you that there may be a database, and by all means, you can set your data spiders onto that task. You will remember that you managed to avoid any sort of...
chaotic right now.
It was a bit chaotic and a bit impromptu. And again, make a culture roll, Dave. Just you this time.
Okay, culture. I have a total of 4 dice for that. I'm not going to push it. I got no successes.
Right. Okay. You're not particularly familiar with the way that Djachroum works, but you get the impression that this isn't particularly the place that feels it's right and proper to record everybody's movements.
To make
they were.
So there's no kind of network of CCTV cameras that we could hack into records of to.
Probably not. No. I mean, there may be some, but they're not necessarily a government network. And
Ones that we could access.
well, even if they might be kind of easily accessible, but they're not necessarily. There are a lot of gaps. You came.
Okay.
Isabelita took you on a roundabout route that avoided any of the immigration stuff. Only you felt she was saying because it was going to delay everything because it was also chaotic. But yeah, you know that you avoided immigration control, so there's no guarantee. But you could give it a go.
Okay.
Well,
If
it's
she
probably worth
doesn't want to.
Yeah, it's probably worth a go just as a starting point, isn't it?
Whilst we're waiting for the Lotus Sisters to come out.
Okay, Zaki, do your thing.
Mhm.
Yaqub, I'm sure you can lean
Okay.
over his shoulder, look at his tabular, and help him as well.
Say, press that button.
So
Zaki,
do that. You do that.
If you're like any
Peer re-
computer programmer I know, you'll really hate that.
Peer review. Okay. Don't fail me if it's. Oh. Mwah. 3 successes.
Effect dice. Become a patron of the Effect Podcast. Get your own set of Effect dice and get 3 successes on every
time you
roll, guaranteed.
Even though with only 2 dice.
Where am I going with this? So, and what I'm doing is this. I'm doing this. Got the opportunity. Yeah, 3 dice. Okay. Yes. Oshian's suspicions about the efficiency of immigration control are realized. It takes you, you can see that the records are nowhere near complete. It's a very quick scan through a list of names of immigrants to see that Wasima isn't listed among them. But you're a clever man, Zaki, and you really don't need Yaqub leaning over your shoulder telling you what to do. Before he does anything, you've gone, of course, onto, well, what about any ship manifests? And there, a name does appear. Wasima is related to an incoming ship whose name I didn't invent, foolishly. But I am going to call it the Mogul Spear, and it docked. Well, it docked pretty much 20 days previously to when you first arrived on the station, and apparently, on its ship manifest was the name Wasima
What's the name of the ship again, please?
The Mogul Spear. I made that up on the spot, so it might not be a great name.
And it
I might change
arrived. So basically, it arrived 20 days ahead of us simply because it's faster than we are.
Yeah, pretty much every single ship that was in the vicinity of Coriolis arrived some period before you did.
A couple of weeks before we did. Yeah. It's the journey that's important, not the destination. Okay, so they've been here for 20 days longer than we have. We've been here for what, a day now, I guess? So in that 3 weeks, she's probably gone anywhere she wanted to.
Yes. Well, she's on the ship manifest. You don't know that she got off the ship.
No, that is true.
You don't even know, actually. You don't even know whether she was ever on the ship. You know she's on the ship manifest is all you know.
Yeah. Is that ship still here?
For Zaki's 3 successes, yes, it is.
And who owns and runs that ship?
I do have the name for that one. I think. Nushine al-Mughul.
Sorry, say that again, please.
Nushine al-Mughul.
Nushine.
Noushineh.
And that's the name of the captain or the owner?
Yes. It appears to be a nomad vessel, so it is owned by a nomad clan.
So there's nothing there that we ought to be kind of worried about in that sense. So in what we could go and talk to them.
Yeah.
And see what we learn, because we might just learn the same bit of information from the Lotus Sisters. Although we could wait for the Lotus Sisters and then go and talk to them.
I think we should wait. You should still wait for the Lotus Sisters to talk to them.
Yeah,
given that I want to keep this moving, the Lotus Sisters come out of the doorway from the watching chamber into the guard chamber, and start heading out towards the exit to the palace.
So we try and intercept them.
Yeah. But did you say you
Go
know
ahead.
one of these ones, Zaki?
Probably not, because I can't really remember if I do or not.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Do you want to roll a D66 for me, please? Somebody?
Okay.
You got it, Tom? Okay.
Yeah. 34.
34. One of the Lotus Sisters sees you and breaks off from the group and heads towards you, bows and give you blessings, and she introduces herself as Sister Malak, and she thanks you for your kind and generous offer to seek out Wasima
Of course, anything that we can do to help in these difficult times. If there's anything that you can tell us that might help track her down. When she first arrived, did she immediately disappear, or was she? Because we understand she'd been here for 21 days. How long is it
you already have more knowledge than
how long
I
has
do.
anyone seen it?
Okay.
We had word that she had escaped the incident. She stumbles over that, thinking of the death of thousands and thousands of lives on Coriolis. She had word that she was on her way, and I believe, although I have not heard the message myself, it was communicated directly from her that she was on her way, but she appears never to have arrived, to our knowledge.
So she communicated when she was on her way to Djachroum, but has not communicated with anyone since arriving.
Did she say
How
anything
far?
about her?
Sorry, go on.
So did she say anything about her method of travel? Who she was traveling with? How she was getting here? In her message?
Not to me. I can speak to my sisters and see if I can find out more information. We were. I am just a functionary here. It is pure coincidence that many of us were even in Djachroum in the first place. We were coming on a pilgrimage, and all this has happened around us. We are struggling to make sense of everything that's gone on, and obviously we look to the leader of our church, not just in the horizon, but very specifically the leader of our church in this system and on Coriolis, to give us guidance, and she is absent.
How long ago? How far ahead of her expected arrival did her last message?
Yeah. Do you even know if she actually arrived on Djachroum? Can you confirm that?
I cannot confirm it. No.
So the message that you talked about that she sent confirming she was on her way, how long ago was that? What was the last communication that anyone had from her?
It was what did I say? It was maybe a novena before. Oh no, it was she quotes a date, which I ought to have remembered. I've got my thing. She quotes a date, and it sounds like about 3 novenas before you arrived. But you did spend the best part of 4 novenas getting here. A novena is the 9-day week of Coriolis.
So that would have been literally a couple of days before she arrived.
So she would have been in transit. She must have been in transit then.
Yeah.
To Djachroum, yeah.
Very close to Djachroum by then, yeah.
Oh. Does anyone wish her harm? And you need to be. I know, sister, sorry for saying that, but you need to be frank with us. If anything inside the church that is not very good to say.
Okay, can I get you to make a manipulation roll? And this has to be you, Zaki. I don't think the others can help on this one.
Okay, empathy. I don't
can't only help by nodding vigorously.
You do have a talent that allows you to make your manipulation
dexterity.
On dexterity, I believe.
Yeah.
So you're jumping up and down or something whilst you do it.
Yeah.
You're trying to manipulate them through the art form of interpretive dance.
Yeah.
His is a very delicate manipulative technique that does use his body. It's not interpretive.
His body is his tool.
Only one
Mr.
Success.
Car Park. Sorry. Forget we said
Only
anything. Carry on.
Only one success.
One success is good enough. As you were saying that, you kind of see a flicker of concern of being insulted cross her face, and then she realizes that you're simply speaking plainly. And she, as I say, the little tiny bit of a flicker of offense, shall we say, but she recovers and she smiles and says, I'm sorry, in these difficult times, I can understand, but believe me, when a sister of the Lotus speaks, she only ever speaks the full truth. And yes, there have been occurrences, and I think not everyone in the church will have been supportive of Wasima's decision to withdraw from the Coriolis Council.
So you're
I am
suggesting
concerned that the Miran delegation may want to take advantage of her disappearance.
Could they have colluded in her disappearance? Would there be enough advantage to them for them to take that dastardly step?
I cannot accuse my brothers and sisters.
I'm not
of
asking
Mira.
for an accusation. I'm asking for an opinion.
Well, you are. Well, I cannot give you an opinion that supports your theory. I am simply laying out that there is an opportunity, maybe, for unhelpful agents within the Mirror delegation, maybe, to have done something. It would shock me if they did. You cannot speak for the church, surely, and hide your face like a jackal in that regard. But to be honest, this is why we asked the Akbar to search for her, and he has asked you because I am not entirely convinced that the church can work together on finding her.
We will do our best to retrieve her, sister. We are in. I'm personally, I am in debt with you toward the sister of the Lotus City. I'm very grateful for you.
She nods and says, "You are in debt?"
Yeah, you saved my friend's life. I can say that. So I am in debt with you.
Okay, just time out, guys. Is he still our friend? What happened to
I think he is.
Ghazi, I don't
apart from a
think, yeah.
terrible no, it's fine. I just want you to remember.
Yeah,
Had terrible stomach upsets, I seem to remember, in the last adventure. But yes,
Yeah, I don't think we fell out
he's
with
neither
Ghazi,
dead
did we?
nor an enemy. Okay.
Just
Don't
because he
think
had
so.
a bad tummy, what do you take us for? We don't take against people just because they've got a bad stomach, Matthew. That's outrageous.
I'm not convinced that you're telling the entire truth there, but she says she grasps your hand and holds it between hers and say, "And is he well now?" This is why I want
I really don't know after the
what?
Where did we leave him?
What? Yeah,
I
I'm just
can't
thinking.
remember.
Was he
Yeah,
on
when did
Coriolis?
we last see him?
Is
in
he,
Coriolis.
so he might not have made it out of Coriolis.
He was on
possibly.
Coriolis, was he? Ah, okay.
Depends whether Neil wants to rejoin the campaign at some point or not.
Yeah. Yeah. You are concerned because Zaki, you have not heard from your friend Ghazi since you left Coriolis, and was he not in that last firefight?
In the
I seem to
He
remember
was with us in Coriolis, so we went down to the tattoo parlor. He was in the firefight there.
There was a firefight there.
Yeah, I can't remember what happened to him after that.
He was shot, but he was cured by Yaqub, and then he didn't show the other sessions. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So you
as
fear
far as
he
I can
may have
remember.
been killed on Coriolis. I think that would be your natural assumption.
But we don't know. He might have got off.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
She offers her prayers for him and says, "We will add him. We have a chorus praying constantly for everyone who is reported missing after the incident. We shall add him to the rolls," she says. "And if he is lost, then I am truly sorry, and I hope that he may be found. But you can understand," she says to you, Zaki, "you can understand our concern for our Wasima
Yeah, we will do our best, sister. And don't worry, Oshian and Yaqub are on it. They are the best detective I ever saw in the Third Horizon.
Possibly go wrong.
We're quite good though. We did find the emissary, admittedly too late, but still.
Yeah, we found Nur. Also too late. So there's a theme developing.
Don't give him.
So we'll find Wasima. She might not be alive by the time we get there.
You found Judge Kurahan while she was still alive.
Yes.
And we kept her alive. Yes, indeed. Yeah. One final question, if I may, sister. I sincerely did not intend to impugn the honor of any member of the Church of the Icons. I'm simply wanting to explore every avenue so we can find Wasima. In the last message that you and your sisters received from her, how did she sound? Did she sound?
As I say, I did not hear the message, but my sisters who reported the news were joyous. She sounded well and uninjured.
Not as if she was under some duress or
not
some coercion.
Nothing in that message gave us concern.
Okay.
What has given us concern is that now, 3 novenas after we had that message, we have not heard from her.
Okay. So I think if they've got no more information, our next step is probably to go and talk to Nushine Mogul of the Mogul Spear.
Yeah. Do you think he just give her away and she's being captured? They just sold her or captured her for someone else? So we need to be
Would she have anything that we might be able to track? I get, like any kind of implanted, ID thing or any kind of.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, so we need to be careful questioning this captain of this ship. Maybe he sold her out. We need to be not direct in questioning.
Okay, best you two go first then.
Yeah, well, we can be fairly upfront and say, we've been tasked with finding this person who was
by the Akbar of Djachroum.
By the Akbar of Djachroum. She was, according to information, she arrived on this ship. So we just want to check that she actually was on the ship and did arrive. He has information about where she went afterwards.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, we can then, hopefully watch him quite closely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I have a judge of character talent, so I can potentially tell if he's lying or not.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good plan.
So that's probably the next plan.
Okay, to go to the ship. Right. So in theory, let me just quickly share this with you.
Bear with me one moment, chaps. I'll be right back.
Okay.
So no change there then, Brian. Right. What are we seeing there? We are seeing a lovely map.
Yeah, we are seeing a map. I am.
And you are here. Can you see my cursor?
Yes.
This is the Cave of Bridges, which is the sort of central city of Djachroum. The spaceport is up here. Can you see my cursor? Number one. Anyway.
Yep. Got that.
And according to the records that Zaki hacked, that's where the Mogul spear is. Now, whether that's where Nashima is, not Nashima, Nushine is, I don't know. She may be in the city.
Okay, she's a she. Okay.
Sorry, no, she is neither he nor she. She is asexual.
Okay.
They are asexual.
They are.
Okay, so
Well, if they are not there, then there'll be some crew about who might have a
location.
Yeah, I imagine so. Or at least there will be even ground crew who will have contact details for them or something like that.
So yeah, I think we might as well just openly stroll up there. I think we need to.
Well, it's a bit more than a stroll. It took you some time to go around the circuitous route that you took on the way here. But
is it a walk, or is there any kind of transit mechanism we can use?
Can walk. It just takes a bit of time. You could also, I'm sure there are kind of what's the word I'm looking for?
Buses.
Not so much buses, more like tuk-tuks or
hovercrafts. Hover tuk-tuk.
Hover tuk-tuks, I'm sure. Yes. We should invent hover tuk-tuks and write them up as a vehicle. Yes. For Djachroum. And indeed, as you set out, one pulls up alongside you and says, "Do you need a lift?" And it's painted with all the signs of the icons all over it. and there are each. You think you've got a lot of talismans, Dave? You said you got 7 talismans. Well, this one's got hanging from the front leading edge of the sort of roof in front of the driver, 20, 30 talismans.
This does imply he's not a very good driver, doesn't it? Okay,
I'm a very lucky driver, he says. See my talismans, I am protected by each of the icons 9 times over.
We can get a lift. That's probably easier, isn't it?
Yeah. Spaceport, please.
Spaceport, the simple, just 3 burr.
I'll roll my capital for that, Matt.
Well, actually, you may jest. But when you pull out your data tag, say, those not working anymore. Where have you been these last 40 days? Oh, yes, on your way over here. No. He says, electronic money, no good. So what do you roll, Dave?
My reputation.
You rolled your reputation.
Which is 5 dice. So it looks like we might be walking, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got no successes on my 5 dice.
Is there anything else you can think of when you get no successes, Dave? Think back to what Toby said in the piece in our latest episode, which only came out on Saturday, boys and girls, listeners. Do you have any, shall we call them assets?
Well, I can do him the favour of not cutting his head off.
No.
What asset? I've got a lot of burr. They're good assets.
Well, if you've got coin burr, then that's fine. They're not taking electronic burr. I imagine most of your burr are on your tag.
Probably, yeah.
We'd probably have some cash knocking about there, wouldn't we, for just such an eventuality as this? Just not in normal day-to-day, as detectives in our normal life. I think that would surely be a kind of routine thing. We'd have some cash on our person.
Yeah, if you can't scratch a window with it, I don't accept it.
Okay. Right. Okay. So I was thinking what you might do is use the data tag you got from the Akbar.
Did we get a data tag from the Akbar?
That's what you gave me a hard time for not remembering what I put on the bloody data tag from the Akbar.
Oh, the chip. Not a burr tab though.
No, it's not a burr tab. No, it's a data tag from the Akbar. Times have changed, mate.
I wish they hadn't, frankly.
That might be. I was thinking that might count as an asset. It's kind of like here's a passport to anywhere. We're on instructions from the Akbar.
Yes.
I see what you mean. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, you've paid the cashy money, so the 3 of you squeeze in. It's a bit of a tight fit in the back of the Grav tuk-tuk, and he goes flying through the busy crowds, miraculously missing every single person that it looks like he's aiming straight for.
With talismans falling off, like
talismans waving back and forth. You don't know how many of them are actually still charged up with any luck, but he gets there, and you get up to the spaceport.
Okay, let's go and find.
So, did you find out which docking bay this ship was at, Zaki, when you found out the information about its existence? Do we know where it is?
We do, I'm sure. I must admit, I can't quite remember.
Well, it must be docking bay 94, surely.
Why do you think docking bay 94?
Because that's where the Millennium Falcon was in Star Wars.
Thank you.
What are you doing?
Then no, it wasn't docking bay 94. Oh, this is weird. I'm pretty sure I had a map of the spaceport and it's not around.
I don't know if this is for you guys, but your picture of Djachroum is flashing on and off to me.
Is it?
Same here.
It
Yeah.
stops
That's
now.
weird.
It's steady now, but for a while it was disappearing and then reappearing a second later.
there it
Oh
goes.
yeah,
It's back.
did it
Yeah.
again.
So,
Yeah.
oh, this is interesting. Every time I click on a file in my Finder to see whether it's the map, another map, obviously it does something weird to the share screen. That's interesting to bear in mind. Let us take that shared screen off anyway. And I can't find the map of the actual space station, of the port. But yes, bigger ships come in at the top levels. Smaller ships can get the smaller and smaller all the way down to the bottom. Hers is the Spear is a small class 3 ship, I think. So it's kind of in the middle. And yes, you've got a docking bay. And no, it isn't 94.
In my mind, it is.
In your mind, it can be.
Okay, let's go.
Let's approach the ship.
So I'm imagining this spaceport is like it's this great sort of funnel in the sort of into the side of the asteroid that you are camped in. I imagine it looks as you walk in like it's open to space. At the top of it, you can see all these ships flying around you. Beyond that, you can see a star field. But it's not vacuum, obviously. So there's got to be some pretty impressive ED fields. It's sort of keeping it closed off and letting ships through in some complex sort of way. So that's what you see as you look up. And as you look up, you can see it's really busy. There are ships, coming in. There are ships going off. The port here has never been busier. But since the destruction of Coriolis, there are ships arriving, going. There's cargoes coming in because there's suddenly people that have got support. Huge numbers of people to support here. It looks really busy. It looks like George Lucas has done a special edition of this. And there's too many ships, really.
Yeah.
Just because he can make them with computers, not with models anymore.
Yeah, creatures walking around, falling off the back of whatever they're riding.
Yeah,
fashion.
and really important characters are just obscured by some fancy CGI that he wanted to put in. No. But you get to the Mughal Spear, and it looks like quite an old ship.
What kind of ship is it? You say it's class 3. Is it a freighter? Is it a fight?
No, it looks like a courier.
Right.
It looks actually about the size of your ship when it was too small to carry many people on it. Before we made it a proper class 3 with enough space for other player characters. It looks. Can you remember? So in my mind, I am seeing Nemesis the Warlock's spaceship from 2000 AD, which looks like a kind of spearhead striped in old Mogul colours, which suggests it may be, every Mogul ships you've ever seen or had any contact with claims to have been part of the original Mogul fleet that first discovered the Third Horizon. This one might be.
Okay, it's a very old ship.
Looks old enough for it.
Yeah.
So it could be. It's just been aged up well, convincingly.
But then again, the Moguls do have an expression which they call the ship of Theseus, whoever he was. So is it the same ship that came, or have all its parts been replaced?
Yes, probably. So I'm going to leave the talking to you guys, because it's not really my department.
Well done, Dave. I think that might be the first time I've ever heard him say that. This is a great moment, Dave. I feel you've gone through a learning experience.
Yes.
Okay, so approach the ship. Is there anyone around that we can, or is there like a
Yeah, there's crew. They look to be in a loading mode now. As you can imagine, here there is a kind of strict division of labour. The stevedores from the port are doing the heavy lifting of the loading, but there seems to be somebody who is wearing striped overalls, who's definitely kind of in charge of stowage on the vessel, and the cargo is being brought on board by stevedores who you think work for, well, in the end, for the Akbar. Local stevedores is what I mean. But there's a chap there, a young chap there in overalls, who seems to be, you think, ship crew.
Okay, we'll approach him and greet him with all courtesy. Say, we're looking for Captain Nushine. Have you pronounced it?
Nushine Al Magul.
Indeed. Are they? We're on a request of the Akbar of Djachroum. Are they available for us to speak to?
He smiles, and I'm going to get you to make a manipulation roll.
Okay.
Does he smile in a very patronising way?
Well, I'm gonna once Yaqub's made the manipulation roll, I'll tell you exactly how patronising the smile is.
Okay, have a darkness point because that's my first roll of the night. It's utter shite.
I was having a conversation with somebody on Facebook who was slightly talking about, you know, the way that every act in one of Ricard's things says, give yourself 6 more darkness points at the beginning of this adventure, and I was saying that I never do that. I never take what he takes on board because my players always give me enough darkness points. And frankly, pushing a roll when you say hello.
Yeah.
That's us.
Yeah, anyway, I've pushed it.
Hello, by the messenger is effectively what you're saying there. So, and you got successes, did you?
Oh, no successes whatsoever on.
Still no successes on your pushed manipulation.
No, not a single one.
Right, okay. He smiles. It's a warm and welcoming smile, but he says, I fear have you travelled up from the Church of Caves? From the Cave of Bridges.
Probably. Where's that? Is that?
You know that point when I showed you the map and said, you are here, point 4, the Cave of Bridges? That's where it is.
My excuse is I wasn't here then, so yes.
Yeah, you're fine, Dave.
We had a nice ride in a hover tuk-tuk all the way here. It was a pleasure.
3 bird unnecessarily. Sorry, I'm not Oshian, no, so that's fine.
Well, okay. I fear you may have passed her on the way. But if you want to wait here, you can. She will be back.
Do you know where she was headed to?
They will be back. Sorry.
They yes.
Yeah.
Do you know where they were headed?
If I know anything, they were, and he gives you an address in the Cave of Bridges, which suggests it's a nomad hangout in the Cave of Bridges.
Would this be somewhere where non-nomads would be unwelcome?
No, I don't think anybody would be unwelcome, but it would be. It would potentially. Well, yeah. When I say no, I don't think anybody would be unwelcome. I think some people would be unwelcome, but not just because they weren't a nomad.
Yeah. Okay.
We're good with the we haven't had a run-in with the nomads at all, have we? We're okay with nomads.
I think so. Yeah. Not yet. Anyway, but we've got 25 minutes left of this evening's show, so
all sorts of things can go wrong before. We can piss off the nomads in all sorts of ways. Where is? Oh, there is what I'm looking for. Give me a moment.
Do we want to ask this guy about Wasima anyway?
We might as well. Yes.
Okay, So what are you saying? What are you asking?
Well, maybe we will go and try and track down the captain. In the meantime, you may be able to help us. We're looking for somebody, one of the Lotus sisters, who we believe arrived on this ship, but seems to have gone missing since. We just wanted to check if we could that she did actually arrive on the ship. She was on the manifest, but we wanted just to double check if she did actually arrive on the ship, as we've been led to believe. Is that something you can help us with?
He says, so you're looking for information?
Yes, exactly.
And what do you have to trade?
Well, what do you need?
It's not so much what I need. I just work for the captain. But the captain will likely want something in return. If you have a need for information, I'm sure there is something the captain will need in return.
Well, is there nothing that you need that we could provide?
Or surely out of the goodness of your heart and to support the Akbar of this very station where you are living and breathing, you might wish to offer us that information for nothing.
He looks at you askance. You're obviously not familiar with the way of the nomads.
I'm not a nomad, that is true.
Yeah. Yes, forgive my friend. He is, as I say, is not familiar with your customs. And Oshian, we should indeed respect the customs of those we deal with.
Well, then, also respect our customs too, shouldn't they?
You walk like a Zenithian. He says.
I'm from Menkar.
Ah, from Menkar. Ah, honoured guests then. The honoured guests from Menkar. Let me take you to the captain's cabin. I was lying, he explains, when I said that they were back in the cave. In the cave. But since you have a request for the captain, I'm sure that the captain will be wanting to meet with you and see what price you are able to pay in return.
Thank you. Yeah, lead on.
And he swings ahead.
Getting into a fight with the captain might not be the best approach. Just a thought.
I've got nothing against the captain. His stuck-up, patronising twat of a guy whose only job is to say, "Put that box there." I've got a problem with him, frankly.
Just let it go. Let it go.
This fellow seems to have unusually long arms, and kind of swings up out of the space a little bit like a kind of ape as he swings about, and he kind of moves his arms as he goes through the corridor. Even though there's gravity here, you sense a real ease at being in 0G. And he's always looking for handholds as he walks through the thing. But he takes you through. Yeah, it's a rather archaic interior. It's been much patched. It's been changed in all sorts of ways. There are, slightly odd angles in some of the corridors. There's pipes that you have to walk around. But he then takes you to a rather opulent cabin, knocks on the door. It opens, and he says, "I have an honoured guest from Menkar, and his associates. They have a request for you." And then he smiles obsequiously at you and lets you into the cabin. I said, "I'll be on the loading deck," and heads off. The captain themselves is very rakish, very hard to determine what gender they are. In fact, they have no gender. They have quite a feminine facial bone structure, which is why I keep calling her she. But they're dressed in a very sort of masculine way. They have a tail as well, and they greet you with a smile that you kind of feel you've seen on the crewman that introduced you here. The same sort of slightly wicked, mischievous, cocky, somewhat superior smile. It says, "Be my guest. Take a seat. I will call for tea, and tell me, what is it you need?"
Thank you. I'll introduce us all, and then basically say the same thing as the other guy. We've been tasked by the Akbar of Djachroum to find an individual who's gone missing. She was on the manifest of this ship, but nobody has seen her since she arrived. We just wanted initially to check with yourself that this individual did actually arrive on the ship when you arrived 21 days ago, whenever that was.
It is interesting. So you need information from me.
Indeed, that is what we're asking for, yes. It's at the request of the Akbar of Djachroum. Yes.
At the request of the Akbar. It is the Akbar who needs information from me then.
The Akbar has asked us to investigate this on behalf of a request made of him by another party. As a courtesy to them.
So I wonder what price my information is worth. What do you think? You look like a tradesman. Oh no, that's your character. Forget I ever said that. I was giving the opportunity.
I was going to say that's quite.
You're not actually a peddler.
So yeah, you're looking.
I'd say that's quite insulting, isn't it? Actually?
Yeah,
you look like a washerwoman.
Well, you look like a man of intelligence. What price do you think the information is worth?
I'm sure having the favour of the Akbar that we would obviously report back to on your open, honest, and quick response to our request. I'm sure that favour would go well with you.
Cool. Make a manipulation roll then.
Tony, why didn't you say that? Can I get a dice of help from Tony?
No.
Oh, come on, surely.
Oh, God. I guess, Tony, you could nod sagely at your colleague's words.
And Zaki?
In some relief that he hasn't already
started a fight
with that. I'm one dice.
Okay, well, I didn't get anything on with one dice too many. I don't want to get into a fight with this guy, so I am going to push that, Matt.
Okay.
Oh no, fuck off. Okay, nothing at all. I'm going to get my effect dice out.
So it appears that the Akbar feels that all the power of Coriolis has moved from that destroyed station to this asteroid. The Akbar should be aware that power structures are changing across the horizon, even as we speak. Things are changing. The nomads, who never had a seat on the Coriolis Council, will not be so polite, maybe, at the formation of any new councils.
I don't think the Akbar is planning on making any new council. He just wants to find this person.
I think you were aware of the fact that the Akbar was proposing
the Akbar very much is planning to start a new council.
And had indeed invited Judge Kurahan to sit upon it.
Okay.
But we didn't necessarily need to mention that at this point.
No, it's been many weeks since we played, so it's okay. Ignore that.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'm sure the Akbar, I'm sure you, I mean, possibly slightly overinterpreting the words of my colleague there in assigning motivations to the Akbar, as my colleague said. That the Akbar has merely asked us to find this individual. We are just humble investigators. We cannot say anything as to any plans for the kind of future administration of this asteroid or of the system, or indeed the horizon. We're just investigators trying to do a job to finding a missing person.
And I too have a job to do. As I've said, I feel that my brother nomads see a great opportunity here, particularly with the destruction of the Foundation, and we must be fleet of foot. And indeed, there are those among us, brother nomads, who we have lost contact with, that we seek to find out. There is chaos across the horizon. With the destruction of Coriolis, that has had an effect on the message torpedoes and the bulletin signal relays throughout the horizon. So even though communication, as you know, has always been slow between systems, it is even slower now. Word of mouth seems to be the way that things operate. I have 2 tasks that I must complete, and yet I can only complete one. Tell me, do you have a ship?
Yes, we have a ship. It's currently being refitted as we speak.
And when will it be ready to fly?
You tell me, Matt.
In a dramatically appropriate amount of time. 3 game sessions from now.
When it's ready, it'll be ready to fly. Yes.
Yeah, it's not the fastest ship, although it will be faster after the refit.
What will its speed be after the refit? Because you've done.
Will it be faster after the refit?
It will.
Yeah.
After the refit, its speed will be 3 instead of
3.
1. Oh yeah, I bolted on some engines.
Yeah, I always felt you should have put them on in the first place.
No.
Then she says, so you need information from me. I need a second ship.
This is not a well-armed ship. This is a courier vessel.
This is not a war I'm sending you into. I simply need you to courier a passenger to well, shall we say at this point, to a portal station that will be determined in future.
In this system?
It will be determined in future. I think you'll find that this system's portal stations will be covered by the time that we need your vessel. I am away to ferry somebody to the nearest one very shortly. It's only this conversation that delays me.
Well, and obviously the loading stuff, because your guy down on the loading deck is doing a really slow job. But
Oshian.
So I'm content. I'm content to agree to some kind of courier passenger transfer thing for you. But obviously, if the journey for that passenger transfer is several systems, then clearly the size of favor which we have to share has to be equitable on both sides.
So, shall we say one portal jump, which, when I have transferred my passenger, will be remarkably cheap?
Well, it'd be free because we always do our own portal jumps.
Well, let us offer you a portal jump which will not only be free but also safe.
Yeah, pretty safe generally.
We haven't had a problem yet, have we?
No.
But okay, so one jump. I can. We need to head that way at some point anyway. I guess my fulsome agreement will depend upon the the fulsomeness of your response in reply.
Tea arrives, mint tea, which interrupts the proceedings for a moment, and then the captain turns to you and says, "I need your agreement before I can give you my reply."
I'm just saying that your reply needs to be sufficiently meaty
No.
to warrant.
I need your agreement, and then I will tell you what I know.
I will then reserve the right to modify the agreement if you just say, I don't know anything.
They turn to you, Yaqub, and say, your captain here is quite the negotiator, but you're the one that asked me originally. Is it a price that you are willing to pay? A risk,
my captain makes a valid point. Is we're offering a trade for something of which we don't yet know the value. I think my captain is showing a sensible restraint in negotiations.
Indeed, you do not know the value of my information, but you will walk away without knowing its value if I don't get your agreement. I am sure,
we will
knowing
indeed
that the Akbar
yes.
seeks this information, I can let you walk away and find somebody else that's willing to pay the price.
Did we say the name of the person that we're searching for?
You know, you have all
we've
you
not
said
mentioned
so far is that a passenger.
Yeah.
I also wonder that in the fraught, chaotic time we have here, and you're saying that you need to be leaving kind of immediately. I wonder if the Akbar's crews and people would find it difficult or find there's an administrative mistake in allowing.
Now you see, again, she turns to Yaqub. She says, once again, your captain suggests that it's the Akbar who wants this information and not you. You assured me it was you that wanted the information and nothing to do with the Akbar's council. If the Akbar needs a favor, then the price will be higher.
We are on a job for the Akbar. If this favor is for us, is not for the Akbar. It's not a direct favor for the Akbar. We're on a job that the Akbar has given us, but we are asking for the information.
So who is it that can get the Akbar's stevedores like to go slow on my ship? Is it your captain here? Because I wonder what influence I might have on ship repairs. Given in this station full of nomads.
I believe maybe this negotiation is veering in a direction that is going to not be beneficial for any of us.
Certainly not for him.
Then.
Should we forget it, Oshian? Should we just go? We'll find the information somewhere else.
No, all right, okay. I mean, you may be an honorless trader. I will agree to your terms, assuming that you have an ounce of honor within you and you have some information to offer. But bear in mind that your reputation and the favors that will come to you will be besmirched and tiny if you behave dishonorably towards us in this instance.
We have no reason to believe that this noble nomad is in any way intending to behave dishonorably.
No, I speak only with the truth of my heart here. You have a need for information which I hold. I have a need for somebody to ferry a passenger to a portal station one jump away. It seems...
I've just agreed.
You agreed, yes, very well. Then tell me, who is the passenger whose information you seek?
I guess you know. By the
I
smile
do
on
know,
your
but
face.
I'd like to hear you say it because I may have brought more than one passenger.
We're looking for a one of the Lotus sisters named Wasima
Ho ho! I could play tricks with you and carry this out longer than the 5 minutes we have available in this session.
Only if you want that NPC to get my knives through his fucking head.
I brought no Lotus sisters to this vessel. I brought merely the Herat of Coriolis, Wasima But
that's fine.
Yeah, fine.
Joy,
Fine.
be joyful, for I can tell you that she lives and is well and indeed safely arrived at this station.
And you say she lives in the world. Do you know anything about her whereabouts since leaving the ship?
That I know. This is my domain. I had.
Is Matt just frozen?
Matt does seem to have frozen. Yes.
At the moment, he's
I'm
about
back
to give us
again.
the information we've been waiting an hour and a half for. You're still a bit. You're still a bit broken, Matt.
Let me tell you this. So it was not long before the incident. A quest from the Herat of the Church of the Icons to arrange.
Oh no, we've lost you again, Matthew.
No, lost you again.
Suspense.
Urgent. Back again.
No,
Back again.
vaguely.
Hear you intermittently.
Again.
Your picture is very, very poor. No.
You know,
I must admit, I appear to only have a weak signal. Stronger signal now.
not really.
Right, connection is now unstable. Fairly good. Can you see me now?
Again, a bit intermittent.
Again, intermittently.
No.
Can see you. You're slightly better, but it's not
Right,
great.
let's quickly say this. She tells you.
Go on.
Quick. Well,
shall I tell you next time? It's working better now. Okay. So she tells you, she's working a lot better now in theory. She tells you that she was surprised at.
no, you've gone again.
She was surprised that.
She was surprised. To be continued.
We heard she was surprised that, and then you broke off, Matt.
Okay. The urgency she had to get off the station. My signal is fairly good now.
Keep
On
going.
and
And she wanted to get this trip to Djachroum very urgently. We were able to negotiate a good price because we were about to leave. We brought her to Djachroum, and imagine our surprise when all of Coriolis exploded in our as we watched. Her urgency has saved my entire life, or the life of my entire crew. She managed to escape Coriolis just in time. Between you and I wonder whether she knew what was about to happen. But if she'd properly known, she would have arranged transport with less haste than she did with us.
Do you know?
However, sadly not. I brought her to the station. As you can imagine, it was in chaos. The refugee ships coming in and dropping off passengers. They were not used to this. we had very little time. We had to get back out into space again to free up the docks for another ship. But I know that she got off this ship alive and well and grateful. She is somewhere here on Djachroum, and that you can be certain.
Did she meet anyone? Do you know, or was she collected, or was there an escort?
Her intention was to go to Lotus Square.
Do you know anything more, or to do what, or to meet anyone?
No. Well, to meet, I believe, with representatives of the Church of the Icons, but who specifically?
Okay.
I hope this information means you will be good on your promise.
I agreed, didn't I? So when my ship is ready.
Then we are all honourable in the eyes of the Icons. You have the information that I had, and I now have a promise from you of a jump for a crew. I will you will be contacted by messenger with the name of the individual and the destination.
As I said, it'll be a few weeks before my ship is ready because it's in refit at the moment. But
at that appropriate time, the name will become apparent.
Okay. Cool.
And let me give you this. And she reaches across and gives you, picks up a ring. It says, "This is an ancient ring of our clan. I give it to you, Captain, from one captain to another, so that you can be reminded of this promise."
I'm honoured. Do I know what this actually means? For cultural or something?
No, don't need to take another cultural. This is me as a GM now trying to make the exchange of gifts a commonality.
Right.
This now becomes an asset that you might use in some future negotiation.
Right. Okay. Okay. Cool. I need
as opposed to an amount of burr.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I should find some spots for assets.
Yeah, we're going to need a new character sheet with an assets list on it.
Yeah.
Or we need to think of a different name that isn't assets, because I just wonder whether gifts would be better. But that's a thing.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, I suggest that next time we go to the Lotus Square again, I guess.
That's my plan. So that's good that you agree. And I will attempt to send you whatever information I have on Wasima Umm that I was going to put on the data transfer before before then. Thank you to our listener.
Yes, thank you for watching, everyone.
When I say everyone, I think Frank, just let's get this message up there for anybody that might be watching at this later stage. And also, let me remind everybody that they should like and subscribe to our channel. Please. And then more people will get to see this. And thanks. Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Tony. We will return, I promise this time, next week.
Cool. Good stuff. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you, mate.